Love music. Live sport. Talking football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the final one of the week, as I'm just about to tweet on the old stream for you folks. It is the last one of the week. Actually, do you know what? I'll do it a different way. Let's get rid of that. Let's just do it this way. It'll be easier. Sorry about this, but I was gabbing to my very good friend, Mr. Hugh Burns, who's in with us tonight. And
if the truth be told, if you want to turn my mic up, if the truth be told, listeners, he's stuffing his face with a big, massive, family-sized jelly babies that I brought in.
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows. Then he had the cheek.
It's like buns to an elephant, isn't it?
He had the cheek to complain about they're quite crusty.
Well, they're a bit crusty, but lying around for a wee while.
I'm very sorry, but without giving Tesco a free plug, that's where I got them, and that's...
Is there a sell-by date on these?
Possibly, they've got to be, haven't they?
There is, February 1997.
Aye. Sorry, you'll not be sitting about that long when you've got them.
February 2020. No, I love marshmallows.
Aye, see that? Aye.
And somebody told me they're non-fattening, you can eat them, they're not fattening.
They're on the Scottish Slimmers diet.
But you know what? I wouldn't care if they were fattening or not. I'd still be guzzling them all the way through the show tonight, so don't you worry about that, Sonny Jim.
I'm sure you will. I had a nice wee lunch and a wee sleep to myself, so I'm not hungry. I've got my Red Bull, so things are looking good there, and I'm good to go. So.
Okay. Let me just remind you, it is the final one of the week. It's good to have your company. Stay with us. Lots to talk about, looking back over the European stuff last night. You can listen on DAB Digital Radio online at rocksportradio.co.uk via your smartphone and your smart speaker. That's using the TuneIn and the Radiogram apps. And you can also watch the programme live, although it may come with a viewer's warning. Don't let young children watch this tonight, because Burns looks particularly mock-it, sitting there unshaved. Unshaved.
Kind of goes everywhere,
sitting there. Do you know what it looks like? You ever seen one of the cartoons when the wee thing gets caught in the cactus and it comes out? The cactus is all sticking outside its backside. That's what you look like.
I don't know, I've got nothing planned this weekend. It's another alcohol-free weekend for the boring Burnsy. That's 2 in a row. And
keep talking while I have a marshmallow.
I thought you might do, so I'm going for this new look that seems to be kind of on the go.
What, clatty?
Designer stubble, but it reminds me like Shaggy out of Scooby-Doo.
So, it actually is.
It's a belt.
You can watch us on Facebook, Twitter, and what's the other thing called? Periscope. Up Periscope. I love these marshmallows.
Yeah, I know it's now.
I do, really.
That's state to get in, eh?
No,
is that coup's bad enough to look at it, but I'm with marshmallows in it.
I don't care. I really don't.
It's like a tunnel.
I really don't care.
A big tunnel.
Carry beach marshmallows are lovely.
Wow. Hot. They're saying roasted or toasted.
Toasted.
Aye.
Do you know you used to toast them when you were a kid by the fire?
No.
Oh, no, you never had open fires when you were a kid, did you?
We used to in the electric houses.
Lovely.
Electric fires.
Toasted.
Nice.
Great when you used to go camp. We used to buy marshmallows, stick them on the end of a twig, and you have them over the fire, and you'd forget you had them if you were talking, or you were having a can of beer or something like that.
As you do with the scouts, no?
Yeah.
You'd eat the twig and all, lately.
Well, what happened was that the twig then burns through and your marshmallow drops in the fire, and instead of getting a new marshmallow and a better twig, what you do is you run around for 20 minutes till you bring out this encrusted black mess
marshmallow
that you can't actually eat. There's one wee bit in the middle that's soft, and it's the size of your wee pinky fingernail. And you spend all this time trying to hoik it at the fire. And it's just daft. But you do it, nonetheless.
No, I didn't play day games, I've got to say.
What's actually a game?
Yes, well, anyway, each to their own. What are you looking at? Somebody tweeting?
No, there's something that I'm just reading, which is Gentleman Jack's put in, and I'm just looking at it.
Is it worth talking about now?
No, it's something else last night. Apparently there was and I did see something, but as a boy that was apparently a Celtic fan in the Feyenoord end.
Well, I don't know if it was a Celtic fan. I know it was a Celtic top. It tends to happen.
Right, okay, all right. So he could have been a Feyenoord fan wearing a Celtic top, because apparently a few of them were.
Well, I didn't see it, but I tell you what, it was quite. There's a few naughties at half time, and the police weren't there long to sort it out.
No, that's good.
And how many times have we said that these stewards are under pressure at games? But I'll tell you one thing, when the police, when the police get involved, Bill, they weren't long in sorting it out. Look at the state of that. Unbelievable. You finished him?
Nearly.
Gee, for Alec Hosper, he's been working for 4 hours. You look after your workers, Bill, rather than feeding your big face. Alec, come in here and get one. Are you a man or a mouse that you're going to come in and take the marshmallows off the gaffer's desk?
Before you come in, Alec, check that your dental records are up to date.
Shipman, get yourself in here. Anyway, so I've got to say that Glasgow Police weren't long in sorting it out.
Good.
And obviously the stewards are only asked to do so much, but there's only so much they can do, you know what I mean? But I tell you, it get quite naughty because it get close with the Govan Road supporters and the Feyenoord supporters who were, stretched round that, because they, quite a few of them, more than what like the Celtic contingent would be in that corner. It actually progressed round into a wee bit of the Broom Lawn and close to the guys in the Govan. So yeah, it was well policed, I've got to say. At half time, the security were right on the ball.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because normally you're kind of saying the police should have done more, the stewards should have done more.
I've got to say they were on, and then the riot police were in, and then really particularly noticeable, they were penned in that second half. You could see that they were, cordoned right round the mall, that they weren't going anywhere, and they would have held on to them at the end of the game. But they made a fair racket. But as the game progressed, I think they probably see their team, were struggling to get the equaliser. So no, it was well placed.
Good, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you're happy.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
I'll be ones that drinking my Red Bull now, and that'd be right up through the roof.
No, I can't take that. My cardiologist would go mental if I had.
I bet you would.
If I had Red Bull. It's a she. Actually, I've got two. I've got a male and a female. The male guy's in Edinburgh. He did the operation, and the female's at Forth Valley Royal.
All right, good. No matter digging in there to get in there, did you know?
I did.
See me okay the last.
Me?
Aye. You were worse 5 years ago when I met you. I mean, you were never at the hospital at one time. You're a bit of a moaner, but aren't you? You like to moan.
The word you were searching aimlessly for there is hypochondriac.
Yeah, possibly that was the word I was looking
never have I been a hypochondriac.
But you do moan.
Ever.
You do moan. There's always something wrong.
I've only got one left.
Well, hurry up, meet it then. You were a bit of a moaner. There's always something right. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to the doctor. This has happened. That's happened. Talk about my life full of drama. There's always drama in your big life, isn't there? To be honest. No.
Listen, they had to stop my heart and restart it again.
So who restarted it then?
Well, I think they got the RAC.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking. I'm fine now.
Start of the week, it was drama with the battery and the motor, and it was always that was the start of the week, wasn't it? The wife get to blame it. It's unbelievable. There's always drama in your big life. What is it with you?
Do you know what it is?
Full of drama.
Do you want to know what it is?
Tell us.
Being responsible for you lot. That's what it is.
Oh, lovely.
Stick the noddle on it. Right, let's talk about football now, because I've finished my marshmallows.
Good to go.
Last night, UEFA action, Europa League action for both Rangers and Celtic. Both teams coming away with great results. A good result for Celtic, actually a great result for Celtic, especially after going a goal down against Rennes.
Yeah, I would think so. Papers this morning are saying that it should have been VAR involved. There'd been a definite penalty. Rennes, who are going very well in France, are a team to be reckoned with, and by all accounts, according to the press, all the Celtic players and Michael Gannon was doing the man-by-man analysis, and they're all 7s and 8s, 6s and what have you, and Ryan Christie again showing class in the ball despite being tightly marked. Should have been awarded a penalty but kept his cool when it mattered to slot home from the spot, and Again, El Hamed at right back as well. Christopher Julian with an 8. The big Frenchman is starting to look every inch of 7 million signing. We thought he might come through. Sensational tackle in the first half and coped well against a lethal Rennes front line. And Forrest stood up as well. So I think collectively to go to France and play against that.
A great result.
I think it's a great result.
It's a great result.
It's a good result. Any result away from home in Europe.
If you come back with a point away from home, then, I mean, obviously you want the 3, and I'm sure that Neil Lennon went for the 3. But if you come back with a point away from home in this competition, as long as you do what you're supposed to do in your home games, you're in with a real shout.
Well, Celtic away from home are always going to have the chance of, the counter-attack. And there they've got Christie in the ball, McGregor and Forrest driving forward with a bit of pace. And again, the big striker as well, Edouard, is just exceptional, playing really well at the moment as well, leading the line. A lot of clubs, big clubs supposed to be looking at him. And again, after the move that the Moussa Dembele's made, I don't think clubs would be short in coming in with offers now for I think players in Scotland in general, Bill. You know that way where now they're looking at how the John McGinn thing as well. It looks a snippet, 2 and a bit, 3 million.
No, you're absolutely right.
I know Ryan Christie will be getting looked at, and so would again McGregor. Julian, they have got a few assets, a lot of prized assets that have come.
Well, of course, there's been the talk in the paper, I don't know if you've seen it over the last couple of days, about Edouard and the Napoli potential deal come the next window at 30 million. Would Celtic sell him this quickly for 30 million? I don't know. It's hard to turn down that kind of money. But if he's worth 30 million in January, what's he worth at the end of the season?
Well, again, it's
giving him the chance to bag a few goals and put in a few performances.
I would think if the title race, which we were all kind of expecting still to be in the melting pot in January, I think it will be probably the last thing that Celtic are thinking of doing is selling him on then. I think they'll need him. Because if you take out Edouard, really, no disrespect, but you're down to Lee Griffiths, being then your main man, which isn't a bad replacement.
But you're not. Here's the thing, Hugh. Bayo went on ahead of Griffiths last weekend.
Yeah, and he did the same, didn't he?
And last night, obviously, Griffiths was injured, so he wasn't in the squad last night, but Bayo came on again last night. But what is Lee Griffiths, and I said this to KB, on Monday, if you recall, what does it tell Lee Griffiths when he sat there and Bayo goes on ahead of him as striker?
Well, I think Lee, will know that what has happened, he's not going to get straight back in, Bill. And I think...
But you would expect him, surely, because he's been on a couple of times as sub.
Yeah, I know that.
And he scored goals.
Yeah, but the manager knows what Lee Griffiths is going to give him, Bill. Sometimes it's good to throw somebody in to find out a wee bit more about him. And test him with Bayo, rather than throwing in Griffiths when you know that you're going to get it off Lee Griffiths and you know what he can give you. He needs to know what Bayo can do, and even at a good level, now's the time to throw him in because he knows Griffiths. So I think will eventually push himself back in anyway. I like Griffiths. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and obviously to get some stuff sorted out, and he looks fit enough to come back in. So I think Bayo needs a test, and I think there comes no bigger test than playing in Europe and playing at Celtic Park.
Right, I'm going to tell you something now, which I know I'll get pelters for from Celtic fans, but there's nothing new in that. Bayo is going to have to be very careful, or he could find himself in Morelos Street, where Morelos was a season ago.
Yeah, well...
and that is, he's a big gangly boy. I don't think there's any malice intended with him, but he can be very awkward with his arms and his elbows. And it could get him in trouble if he's not careful. It nearly did last night. And it could do certainly domestically. The boy's keen to make an impact, and you can see that. And he's obviously got skill, he's obviously got flair, but he's also a bit awkward and a bit kind of gangly himself. So he's really got to watch this, because I think people will notice it in the domestic game more than they will in the European game. But he was lucky a couple of times last night.
Yeah, he was. I seen a couple of challenges, and it was very, very fortunate to be still on the park, but. Again, it might just be, a learning period for the big guy to be thrown in there. He's enthusiastic and wants to impress the manager, the same as Alfredo Morelos had as well in his early stages of his Rangers career. And he, incredibly for me, has cleaned up his act.
Yes, he has, and that was very apparent last night on
as well,
2 or 3 occasions.
100%. One wee late one.
For me, he was the man of the match.
Yeah, he
by a country mile. I thought his industry was good. I thought his movement was good.
Aye.
I think a couple of times he was so eager to try and score that he could have laid a ball off here and there, but that's Alfredo Morelos. You want your striker to be greedy.
Yeah, well, with Bio, I think a lot to prove, big potential. Again, Celtic are good at unearthing these gems and suddenly making them into multi-million-pound footballers, and this big guy's probably no different. Will need to, shift Edouard and fight for his place with Griffiths if there is going to be a kind of, as you say, a second striker where somebody's going to be coming on ahead of one another every week. And Bio right now seems to be ahead of Griffiths in that department.
What was unique about Celtic's game last night in the modern game?
Don't know.
Especially in European ties. Have a guess.
What was unique about it?
In the European game especially, and in the modern game, what was unique about it last night?
Don't know, you've got me.
Wasn't one offside decision.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not one.
Against Celtic?
Against either team.
Is that right? That's unbelievable.
It was, wasn't it? Not one offside decision.
What do you say that? The more kind of comes to mind that the game doesn't really get stopped a lot with that now, didn't it? I know it does, it happens, there is offsides, but
it's very rare that you don't get one offside decision in a game.
Does that mean the linesman doesn't get his fee?
Maybe he's up having a pie in the Bovril, who knows? But it's a great result. Neil Lennon, he was happy, but he thought they could have got more out of the game.
Yeah.
Said it's a great start, but you always want more. I thought we were the better team. We should have had a penalty for a foul on Ryan Christie.
Yeah.
I think some people feel that would have been a bit harsh. But I have to be satisfied with coming away from home and playing very strongly against a good side. It speaks volumes about the character and the quality of the team. I'm delighted with the performance, and I know we can improve as we go on. We have a lot to look forward to. I don't think that's unfair. I don't think it's unbalanced, and I don't think it's unrealistic about what I saw the game last night. Sadly, Jerry saw most of it because he was watching it on my gizmo. But I watched it when I got in last night because I'd it recorded. And I thought Celtic were excellent. I thought they played the right game. I thought the game management was good. I thought they kept the head when they went down the goal because it was easy to have been rattled then. They didn't get rattled. In the same way that I was very impressed with Rangers when Tavernier missed the penalty, that they didn't get rattled and go to pieces. They actually got stronger.
They did, yeah. I just think that Lennon's got a good spirit amongst them right now. I think they're playing for the manager, and when he got the job in the last year, a lot of Celtic fans in particular were a wee bit unhappy when he got the job full time, as we know that. And
a couple of our pundits were.
Yeah, and it's split. So I think.
Look, Neil Lennon's a Celtic man. Whatever he does, he'll do for the benefit of the club.
There's a lot of harmony in the camp at Celtic Park right now. I feel as if they're playing for him. You feel that you see the way the players are playing. There's a big thing here about Ryan Christie saying the ref had a shocker, should have been a pen. Tend to get that away from home, maybe just know the decisions that would come your way. But there seems to be a calmness about Celtic Park right now. Calmness about the manager, players playing well. And they are good players. They're good players, and the European stage, I think, suits Celtic well.
Can I just commend the club as well? Can I commend Celtic in terms of they're going to have a minute's applause before the game this weekend in remembrance of Fernando Rickson.
I didn't know that. That's good.
They're going to have a minute's applause. More than that, I'm going to show you a picture. Peter Lawwell and Neil Lennon went to lay flowers at the foot of John Gregg's statue, where Rangers laid flowers yesterday. They went today because they've just come back from France, obviously. Right, okay. And they were in France when Fernando Rickson passed away. So what they've done is they obviously waited till the chief exec and the manager were back, and they're the people who represented the club. I'm going to show you a picture, Hugh, and I suppose everybody else has seen it now as well, but I'll tell you what strikes me about this picture and what strikes you about it when you see it.
Well, I know it tends to happen, when big, legends of clubs pass away and they show respect, but they genuinely look
That's it.
You
The
know.
look on the faces there,
Aye.
it's very sincere.
Yes, it is.
very sincere from both men.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, they don't look happy people. They look as if, they are genuinely upset.
Yeah.
Going to lay these flowers.
Yeah, they are so. Yeah.
And I'm glad you saw that, because it was the first thing that hit me.
Aye.
Was the look on their faces.
Yeah, they're very, very sincere with their grieving for Fernando, who's passed away, and it's a horrible time for the family and friends. A lot of people, have been very, very close to Fernando here, and reading today as well, with a lot of people coming out. Stan Gordon particularly came in to speak to us.
Yes, Stan was talking about the Rangers Benevolent
Fund, yeah.
is taking care of the funeral. They're paying for it, and they're organising it, which I think is magnificent.
Well,
I really do.
The Benevolent Fund, we've all done things for it, and we know what a pat in the back for it. It's great when there is a fund there available for that, and I've got to say that Colin Stewart, who's really at the head of the Benevolent Fund, does a lot of stuff. Big Peter is one of the main guys in it as well. God rest him. Big Bomber Jackson was it that I believe in saying one of the guys at the forefront of it, and Greggy as well. There's a lot of stuff before it goes through has got to go through these guys, because these are guys that Peter,
they're
Greggy.
trustees.
Yes, exactly. And I've got to say, big Davy Proven's boy, big Graham Proven from Barhead. Fergie and I did it last year down in Rumours and Barhead. It was a fantastic day for the Benevolent Fund. Mine murder gave me stick, I couldn't say it right. The Benevolent Fund, and it's fantastic that players as well, and a couple of players that I've known lately have went in for injuries and what have you, and been rushed through and got their stuff done. So it's a fantastic fund, Bill.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a magnificent gesture by them.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just going to say it one more time. Fantastic, a heartfelt gesture by Celtic today. They will do the minute's applause at the weekend. Some people saying, could it not be in a minute's silence? I think this is.
I think it's appropriate. It's a clap.
Yeah, pardon.
I feel pardon the expression. They do clap. They do applause.
But I honestly think that it's the sentiment and the gesture that's the important thing.
Yeah. So listen, see when it comes down to this, right? It's life we're talking about here. I know that people will be Rangers fans. Some of them will go, we'll deal with it.
Let's not forget the greatest Celtic player as voted and nominated ever, Jimmy Johnson, was taken by this horrible disease.
Yes.
And so there's a common bond there from both clubs. They both know what it's like to suffer tragic consequences from a disease that is non-discriminatory and completely unforgiving.
Yeah, well, if we just spend a wee bit of time on it and talk about all those years ago when we sat round in Admiral Street when we started broadcasting, and Stan brought him in. It hadn't been long diagnosed, and you phoned me that day and said, "Wee Rickson is coming in," and I do regret. The first thing I thought about as a wee wind up for him was,
I'm going to tell you something, if I may, just very quickly. It's the first time that I've ever seen you what I would call starstruck.
Yeah, I was. It was a few years ago. It was, over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was 13 he was diagnosed, and it was shortly after that. I think it was after he came out with it in Dutch TV, which was a very moving thing to do and a moving thing to watch. And we sat in the office, which was like a box compared to where we are now. And Stan brought him in, and I thought the first thing I thought about, because my dad was still living as well, and I told him, I'm quite excited, I'm going to meet wee Rickson tonight. He went, that's good. The first thing I thought about, I'm going to go out and buy a pair of shin guards and have them on for him coming in. And I do regret that, because he would have laughed, that way. And when I had to explain to him that I played there. He wouldn't have known me for all the games I did play. He wouldn't have known me. And playing number 2, and I'll get booked a lot as well, and he was laughing, and we like red cards, and
Well, I remember saying to him, the first thing I'd said, I've got to apologise for giving you the nickname Red Miss Rickson, because I was told that players had called him that in the dressing room.
Red Miss.
And I remember him kind of holding up his fist and shaking it, but laughing at the same time. Yeah. Remarkable man.
You think about all those years ago when he was in decline then, now sometimes people are better, and I'm not saying better. It's horrible when you lose anybody. I lost my dad, with cancer, and I seen him dwindling away to nothing. And it wasn't my dad at the end. It was, but it wasn't. And it's horrible to see it. And it'd been the same for Fernando's family and all the people. And I'd said to you last night, and there'll be probably different people listening tonight, I believe that, the care he got at the St Andrew's Hospice in Airdrie was unbelievable.
Stan said that when we had Stan on the other night, and he mentioned Annie's carer, and he says she really needs a special mention.
Unbelievable what these people do. Yeah, they're there, and they're doing their job to an extent. No government funded. It's all money put in and fundraising. And
can I tell you a story very quickly, which I think you'll appreciate? My father told me a story once. And he used to. I mean, my dad doesn't. He's not that mobile now because he's a good age. But my dad used to play a lot of golf, and when he first retired, he played loads of golf. And he used to play with this one guy who was a fundraising manager for the hospice in, I think it might have been Kent, where my dad lives and where they were playing. And my dad kind of went off his nut at him one day, saying, I think it's a bloody scandal that hospices are not funded by the government and blah-de-blah-de-blah. And the man turned round to him and he said, Bill, he said, I'm glad we're not. He said, because if we were, we'd be subject to budgets and we would never get nearly the budget that we'd need or deserve to do what we do. He said, so we know what we have to raise. We have a lot of very good benefactors, as do a lot of the hospices. I'm not saying it's easy, but we know what we have to raise and we know what we need. And we know that we can get it because people know what we do and how we do it. If we were part of government funding, we'd be subject to government cuts.
Well, there you are, and a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes that you don't really know, the full extent of. But I think reading stuff today as well.
They do a magnificent hospices everywhere.
Yeah, I remember.
Do an absolutely magnificent job. My aunt passed away recently, and she was in a hospice, and again, just phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, it is, and I think his agent or his publisher had said that Fernando very much looked on Scotland as his home.
Yeah,
and after that, going through a divorce, the monetary thing being well documented as well. There was money sitting there that Fernando couldn't get his hands on, probably to look after him in his health care. But I'll tell you something, he getting the next best thing with I'm going into St Andrews and getting well looked after, and loads of people that could be mentioned. Zoe Smith, who doesn't miss games, he's always there doing things for Rangers and the foundation and mostly. But Stan Gordon, I've got to say, deserves an incredible mention for looking after. He's looked after Fernando.
Well,
for day one.
When I spoke to him the other, I don't know if you heard me talking to him on the show the other night.
No, I didn't know.
But he'd been up sitting with him all afternoon.
I know, I read today. I've been broken. I've need to text the big man. Actually, I should have, and I didn't. And, I will later on. But Stan deserves great credit for what he's done. He'll be broken-hearted, the big fella.
Yeah. Anyway, a point in the bag for Celtic,
yes,
which is good, and a good start to the Europa League campaign.
Anything away from home, pick up something, you're back home, and your tails are up and you're good to go. But anything away from home, regardless where you are, no easy games anywhere, and more importantly, away from home, you get a result there, you're back out the road delighted.
Liam Telford's been on, and Liam, he's always...
Well, we mentioned Hearts.
No, but he's talking about Rangers and Celtic here. He says, got to say well done both Rangers and fans and players. Observing the minute's silence and applauding on the second minute in honour of Rickson. Well done to all fans and players and coaching staff of both clubs. And then he goes on to say, if I was Lennon, I'd be raging at Bayo. Was no need for the stupid fouls that got him the red card. He needs to learn to pick his challenges, as the one on the keeper was just idiotic.
It's a learning curve for the boy. It's a big move. It's a big club. It's a big stage. He's not going to get it right away. I think you just need to look at what's happened again. We've said at Ibrox with Alfredo Morelos and how much he's come through and get better. So I think Bayo takes a leaf out of Morelos' book and moves on.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Listen, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll look at Rangers in action last night. Mr. Burns was there, so he can give us a first-hand account of what happened on a very poignant evening at Ibrox.
If you're a fan of Scottish junior football, then Just the Juniors is a must-listen for you here on Rock Sport Radio. Nobody brings you more or better coverage of the junior game on radio than Bill Kilgour and John Redmond. Unrivaled knowledge, interviews with the managers, players and people who run junior football in Scotland. Every Friday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. is when you can hear Scotland's flagship junior football show. Make sure you're listening. Just Just the Juniors, brought to you by Plumbase, the trade's Premier League team. Leave the winter outside with Plumbase's hottest offers in Feel the Heat brochure. Get yours at your local Plumbase branch.
Do you hear that? That's your family coming round to your new house for Sunday lunch. Your son opening the door of his first home. Visitors arriving at your guest house. Friends coming over to watch the football. Scottish Building Society offer a range of mortgages, so we can turn this into this.
Hello!
Scottish Building Society. We've been helping people open doors since 1848. Call us today on 0345 600 4085. Scottish Building Society is authorised by the Prudential Regulation Authority and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority and the Prudential Regulation Authority.
Have you ever lost money on an investment? If a high street bank persuaded you to buy a stocks and shares ISA, unit trust or investment bond and you lost money, Goodwin Barrett can help you get back thousands of pounds in compensation. Even if you don't have the investment anymore or the paperwork, Goodwin Barrett make it easy to find out. Text GOOD to 66777. That's GOOD to 66777. You don't need a claims management company to make a complaint, and if unsuccessful, you can refer it free to the Financial Ombudsman.
It's easy to put things off. I'll sort it tomorrow. It'll wait. Well, turns out if you're a man with prostate disease, the sooner you spot it, the better it can often be treated. So if your dad or brother have had prostate cancer, or you're having trouble with your waterworks, do something about it. See your GP or visit prostatescotland.org.uk for more information. Prostate Scotland. Pull your finger out.
Love music. Live sport. Talking football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.
Okay, before I go any further, I must say hello to Victor the Butterfly and John, who are listening. Easter House, is it?
Yeah, I've been listening for years, 5 years. I've not been out of the house. That's all the days, listening to us for 5 years. Sit in the house and don't listen to anything else. So a big hello to Victor and my wee pal John there in Easter House. So I think John.
Victor, let me tell you something as well, my friend. There is nothing sad about demolishing a bag of marshmallows on the radio.
By the way, he's no missed many dinners either the last time.
So let me just say, don't sit there slavering and drooling all over the place because they're gone. You will not see another marshmallow now on the show.
Well,
they're all on Billy's big belly.
Victor can put the chuck away as well. You want to see him? He's a glutton, so he is.
Heggs, how are you?
Good evening, Bill. I'm fine, thanks.
Hello, Mr. Hegarty.
I was wondering if we'd get you back this week. I wondered if you might be Secretary of State for the Donald now that you were, pals with him and playing his course and everything up there. And
I was talking to him earlier on. He was asking for you.
Brilliant. How was it, Heggs? Was it good?
Oh, Hugh.
Really?
Hugh, it was magnificent.
Is it
too
nice?
Hard for me and too good for me, but
good to get there. I'd love to play that. I'd love. And was the weather good, Heggs?
It was fantastic.
It
was great.
Brilliant. That helps, doesn't
Which
it?
is unusual.
Oh, without a doubt.
It was great. You honestly, like say, you've been a good golfer. I'm just a sort of hacker, but being like say yourself, you'd enjoyed it. The penalties, if you're off the fairways at all, you were
in dire straits. Really?
Aye.
And it feels as if we've no spoke for ages, and we get the Dundee derby the week before. Is that 2 weeks you've been off?
That's right.
No, he came. Did you not come back? Did you not come back after the Dundee derby?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
and then
we
away
had you for a
again.
week.
Yeah. Listen, it's great when you can chop and change your Fridays to suit yourself, really, innit? You know what I mean? Your work comes second, doesn't it? You know what I mean? You've got to get the hospitality right, Bill.
Sorry, boss Burton's okay.
We've had a couple of able replacements, big man, so you better get your finger out tonight.
More able people than me, that's for sure.
Well, absolutely. I don't know if you want to talk. We're just talking about Celtic game before we went on to Rangers game. What was your thoughts on Celtic getting a point away from home, Paul?
I've got down here, Hugh. I must admit, I think there's two excellent results for the Old Firm.
Yeah.
And I've said it on numerous occasions. To win in Europe, it's very difficult. And it's I'm not sure, but I just get a feeling that over the last couple of years, especially Rangers, they're starting to find their way in Europe a bit better.
Yes.
Celtic, got a very good result against Rennes last night, 1-1. But any result in Europe, whether it's a win in Rangers' case or a draw for Celtic, I think it's great for also from football and Scottish football in general.
Yeah, I would think so.
Higgs, we were talking, and I know you'll want to make some comment on this. We were talking about the sad passing of Fernando Rickson this week.
Oh, very sad. A young man, 43.
Yeah.
But he was brave on the park and brave off the park. And, you hear all the tributes from, football people in general and obviously people out of football, and that's nice. And you tend to find when these things happen, everyone comes together. I was reading the paper today about a Celtic fan going to the game last night and doing what he did and leaving a wreath at the gates at Ibrox. And the Rangers fans were magnificent. That's what it should be all about, all these things. And so it's just a shame that, someone's died because of it. But, a great gesture from Celtic fans and a great gesture from the Rangers fans for allowing it to happen and applauding this young individual. But, the player was, Fernando Rickson was a true lion, a true, player that, just loved Scotland and one foreign player who embraced Scottish football and embraced Scotland as a country.
Yeah, and when you actually sit and think about it, and just take the football thing out of this for a minute with life in general, when you're struck down with something like this, for some person to be as active as what footballers are,
that's the bit that I think is absolutely heartbreaking. You're talking about professional athletes and sportsmen.
Fernando, he ate, slept and breathed football. That's all he knew, same as we all do. And for somebody to take that away from you, I know something to take it away from you, and it must just be incredible, even just to keep going. And I know he had the best of treatment and what have you, and he did hang on and he fought it, and but just to go as long as he did, Bill and Paul, it was incredible. There's a lot of people though who were struck down with that, and then mentally, it's like when people are diagnosed with cancer, some people will live longer than others because they'll fight it, and some people won't, and eventually the disease, kills people quicker. But with this, it's just incredible how long the wee man hung in there, and for somebody's dignity to be taken away the way it takes people's dignity away is it's incredible to think. You think you've got a problem because you wake up in the morning, you've got a sore neck, or you've not slept well, you got an upset tummy or something. Something puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Really does.
Correct,
really does.
Correct.
Listen, let's move on to the game. You were there, Burnsy Boy, last night with Bob Smith, our reporter. Obviously, it was a great result for Rangers. It's quite interesting because 2/3 of the play were actually in the hands of Feyenoord in terms of ball possession. They had 63% of the play, Rangers had 37% of the play. And when I saw that and saw that Rangers had 20 shots on goal, which were 5 more, considerably more than Feyenoord. I'm just trying to look, was it 20 shots that Rangers had last night? Yeah, 20. Yeah, that's right. They had 20 shots and Feyenoord had 16. Now, for 63% or 67% of the play, I thought, this must be wrong. So we checked it on another site, and it was absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think really, Paul will know this, when playing against Dutch teams in Europe, they just mollycoddle the ball. They just love the ball, and they're not going to give it away. So they come out one end, go to the other, go to the goalie's comfortable, goes to centre back, it goes wide, blah blah blah. And that's the way it does a lot of times in spells in the game, which would have pushed up that percentage of possession, because they didn't really go that far when they had the ball. So the ball retained, they had the ball, but they weren't really doing anything with it. The first 10 minutes, I've got to say, Rangers got a doing. I was sitting with Bob, I went, we're under pressure here. They get in behind us, especially Borno Barisic, the first 5 or 10 minutes. Down the right, they were bombing on. Couple of decent balls into the box, but we're on our toes and we kind of weathered the storm. We then, after getting the penalty, became a better team. Tav played better as well. Everybody lifted their game. Couldn't believe it when Tav had the side of the post, or to the outside of it. I spoke to Tom Miller at the end. I says, how did he strike it? It was a wee bit far away from where we were in the gantry. He says he's trying to kind of pass it into the net rather than the way he usually whips it into the goal. So, for that point of view, he kicked on and became better. But Rangers had some real good performances.
Rangers could have been 5 up at half time.
Yeah, they should have been, and that's what the manager was chuffed when he came in. It's great when you see, I've got to say, Big Yap Stamp came in and he was his class, Paul. Big Stamp came in and, he's not too animated on the side of the park either. One of, kind of modern day managers, and what I like, I watched to see body language and what have you. There was nothing happened between him and Gerrard. There was no nasties on the park anyway for both managers to be jumping about for that point of view. What I'm thinking about coming into Carling is I'm going to talk about Rangers tonight, and Rangers are getting results right now, but I genuinely feel watching it, there's so much more to come for Rangers.
Yeah.
Well, there is, Paul. Honestly, there's so much more on individual performances and players still to play better, and they're getting results right now. I just think, Helander coming in yesterday, everybody's talking about it last night. We were talking about it, had some happened with Katic, we didn't know, nothing's been wrote about this morning. First question the manager got last night, what was your thoughts? And Philip, Helander coming in rather than Niko Katic, and he says, listen, and it was a great answer. He says, it's a European tie. He says, this kid came in for Bologna, who's played against international footballers in Serie A. This is a European tie. We thought Horsey for courses, this was perfect to pitch him in with Connor Golston. We've got 4 centre-backs who are all good players and vying for 2 positions. So that was it. That was put to bed right away because Helander was magnificent.
I'll tell you what I did notice about him last night, and you could see his experience showed dramatically. There was a couple of times where he shadowed a runner, and the runner could have all too easily got him on the wrong side, and Helander didn't let him. And his vision, he read the game.
He's got great feet, Bill.
Yeah,
he's got good feet.
He read the game. I wasn't convinced with him, but I know it was after one game, and I know it was against East Fife at New Bayview, and the wind was howling. There was a plastic pack, and I'd seen him come on. I'd seen him one other game, and I still wasn't that convinced. Last night, I could be convinced by him because I thought his vision was good. I thought he read the game very well through the experience that he's got. I thought he showed more pace than Golson's got. And he played a really good game. He was very, very steady. He was very, very sound. And I was impressed by him.
I thought his full back 4.
I thought Barisic, that's the first time Rangers fans have seen Barisic in a blue jersey.
100%.
The real Barisic.
100%. And again, European football, ready to go, played at his pace, played it, and driving in with the ball.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, Paul, we'll come to you in just a wee minute.
No,
but
okay.
Can I ask you a question? Do you see what I've been meaning about a style of football that suits Barisic from last night, where he gets more time on the ball?
Yeah, well, that's why he shows up so well with Croatia.
But that was my problem, and I said to you, I felt that was an issue for him when he plays domestically.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping the boys... I thought he's fantastic last night. I really did. And I hope the boys' confidence now just gets higher and higher and higher, and he can start to do that domestically now.
What he does last night, Paul, is he's got the ball in the left-back position, and Feyenoord were pressing him. But he was on such a good game. He was playing that well. He still had the ball, Paul, but he was coming inside with it, but he was still kind of moving forward with the ball. You know how fullbacks can do that? The way Tavernier cuts in, but he still gains ground on the opposition, and he's still moving 5 and 10 yards forward, Bill. And he was making things happen. He was finding Kamara with the ball, he was finding Jack with the ball, he was finding Arfield with the ball. And he looked a £2 million player last night. He looked an absolute class act. But right through the park as well, Kent as well. Jack. Jack is now beginning to look.
Kenny Chapman, special mention for Ryan Jack, immense, and best moment of the game at 2 minutes, ball out for a throw, and game just stopped with players clapping. Class.
Yeah, he is now looking like a class midfield player.
Yes, he is.
And he's got rid of that wee kind of petulant, latent tackles, injuries, knowing the team. I'll bet he's first in the team sheet. He's now the midfield player that we all kind of hope would come for Aberdeen. Has taken maybe a couple of seasons to adjust to become the Rangers player, to get his fitness right, to play in front of 50,000 every week and do the business every week, just now and again. Playing the Midley Park Rangers can't have a bad game. Quiet games, yeah, are allowed. Bad games, you get slaughtered. And he's now, and he's a quiet lad as well. I'm hearing one of my friends is very close with him, lives close to him, and very unassuming chap and family man. I see a wee bit of swagger about Ryan Jack now, and I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Putting the middle of the park with Rangers, you've got to stand up and be counted, go and make tackles, pass the ball, and he's looking to get shots as well, which is good, and add to his goal tally. But he looks absolute class in there.
Heggs, just going back to Hollander, you're a renowned and revered central defender. What was your thoughts on Hollander last night coming in?
Very good, and you tend to find, like say, they have a bit of strength and depth in some positions at Rangers. You're talking about Hollander and obviously Coulson and Katic. I'll just go back to what Hugh was talking about, Jack. I think sometimes the penny drops, Hugh,
yes,
and he looks a bit more mature now.
Yes.
And just what you said, it was a bit petulant. I think he's become a bit more mature, and I think when you're playing with players like, say, Davis alongside you, it can all help these youngsters.
I think you're 100% right. So when you look at maybe the guidance that he's getting on the park for Steve Davis, and the guidance he's getting off probably one of the best midfield players to play in England ever as the manager. So you would think that Steven Gerrard, there'll be loads of chat, Paul, going on between the manager and his assistant manager at Ibrox. Wasn't a bad midfield player either. So let's look at these two guys at training every day, helping Ryan Jack become a better footballer. And, you know, Ryan Jack's the type of guy, I think, that'll absorb everything that the manager and the assistant manager is telling him. And I think it'll be put over in a way. Listen, I think, you know, this would help you. I've seen him you've just seen you've watched Gerrard coming in, and you could see that he's helping Ryan Jack through his development of becoming a better midfield player. You can see that he's getting help everywhere, and he's taking it on board.
Bill, sorry for changing the tune because you asked me about Hollander. A good performance, solid performance, a performance you're looking for defenders. I'm a great believer. You've got to do your job first, which is obviously not lose any goals, and that's what Rangers did last night. And if you can contribute, whether it's, you know, and Maddie was making a goal, but now it's called assists. You know, if you can do it further forward in the final third, good and well. But the bottom line to me is, Rangers never lost a goal last night. Hollander and Katic and Coulson and especially McGregor and that, because McGregor was excellent as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't lose a goal, you've done your job. But going back to your original question was, you know, you spoke about possession, Feyenoord having all the possession. You can have all the possession in the world. The bottom line is, what's the most important?
Yeah.
1-0. And that's what Rangers got, and what a goal it was from Ojo. Magnificent strike. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
great
I think
strike from what, 24, 25 yards?
Great strike, Higgs.
Keeper was picking at the net, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's where I say the controversial thing. That goal came at just the right time for Ojo, because people were starting to ask questions about him.
I think you're right. I think the manager said again that at his press conference that he's capable of doing that. And he made a great point as well. Now, he'll know Ojo for his time there, and he'll have watched his development at Melwood and what have you. And this is another telling factor as well when the manager, when he said, listen, he says, guys, don't expect Ojo to be the shining light every week here. This is a young boy who's been playing development football. Yes, sometimes he looks rabbit in the headlights, but other times he looks absolutely magnificent in the ball. And that's true. He said 5 or 6 goals in the same again with assists. He says that ain't a bad start come September. Which is true as well. So everything's been analysed with the manager and the backroom staff regarding Ojo. And it's a big ask there. He does look still a wee bit, you know, withdrawn a wee bit when he's just not really expanding yet and letting his quality talk. But I think what as you say, when you score goals like that,
he needed it last night.
But going back to the game in general, I think Rangers had a kind of calmness about them. You know, that when you look at that this morning, Rangers have came a long way, Paul, in a short space of time. It didn't seem that long ago, and it isn't that long ago. We'd be talking about Rangers going to Berwick Rangers, East Fife, and Montrose, and no disrespect, and suddenly I'm lifting the back of the paper and saying Rangers won Feyenoord 0. That shows you how far they've came on a budget, trying to get the club right and get the right people in to run the club. Now, that doesn't happen overnight, and suddenly it's beginning to look settled.
Well, here's a stat for you. Rangers haven't lost any of the last 14 home games across all European competitions.
Well, there you are. And
that doesn't surprise me, Bill, really, because, see, last season...
But that's a good run for any team in Europe, not losing your last 14 home games.
It's absolutely.
Fantastic. Bill, I was going to ask Hugh a question. He's talking about like Ojo and these players coming in the iBox, and Hugh's the person to ask. Hugh, when you come to Rangers, it's a different ballgame completely, irrespective if you played in Europe with any big clubs or coming like Ojo coming up from England and obviously, playing sort of development football. It's a hard gig to take, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, Paul. And it's often said that sometimes the jersey's too big for players and they cannot handle, running down that tunnel and just needing to absorb that pressure. Just that every touch has got to be right, every pass has got to be right, every tackle's got to be right, header's got to be won. Over and above your ability, Paul, you've got to show the aggressive side as well, and sometimes that's knowing people's makeup. Right. And the aggressive side is halfway into the hearts of the fans. If you've got that aggressive, plus the ability, they love you. But you could be a player but not have the aggressive side, and they sometimes, like, they want wingers to go and tackle like the way Big Forsyth used to tackle. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
They want every player to be a Fernando Rickson.
Of course they do. And sometimes the fans need to kind of just take a wee back seat. When have you ever seen wingers going to wholeheartedly win balls and then be that wee Tanner ball player? It doesn't work that way, and fans sometimes need to be educated a wee bit with that and say, no, everyone's going to be win and win and win. So it's a thin line to keep 50,000 bears, screaming bears, happy. But I think, listen, the more they play, the more they'll absorb it, get that feeling of big game tomorrow. How many of these guys that he's brought up and they don't actually realise how big it is until you're there. You just need to listen to Defoe talking, and other players who have came up from down south didn't realise that Rangers and Celtic were so big clubs. You hear it for Celtic as well. Such big clubs until I played for them. And it's all very well reading about them and the history of them. But I think he's got so much more, Paul, to come for players. I said that at the start. Mm-hmm. There's players still to be playing better. And players out. His £7 million player was out last night. Alfredo Morelos led the line magnificent, turned the centre back and turned them again.
For me, he was the man of the match.
Work corners, work targets. You could see the difference of, the difference between Morelos and Defoe last night. Morelos was working that back four.
See the way he rolls defenders.
Aye, he is.
Class.
What he needs to do, I think, to really, really impress on looking real big guns who will be looking at him is the final ball, Paul, where he sometimes has got the blinkers on.
He lets himself down.
Yes, and that's where it is. As the aggressive side of things, again, I've spoken to somebody today about it. I'm pretty sure that Defoe and him are working together.
What did I tell you on
said
Monday?
It on Monday. Yeah, you're
on
right.
Monday. I said on Monday, Paul, for me, I can tell you now, and when he scored at the weekend, first person he went to was Jermaine Defoe. Mm-hmm. And I said to Hugh and Jerry on Monday, I said, I'll guarantee you that Stephen Gerrard has gone to Jermaine Defoe and said, apart from the work that I know you can do for us and the job you can do for us on the park, there's a job you can do for us off the park, and that's take that boy under your wing and show him what a good professional does, to have the career that lasts and lasts and lasts and still be able to perform at the highest level. And I'm sure that's what he's done.
Bill, you've hit the nail on the head, because senior players like Defoe and Davis in midfield, and obviously Defoe up top, they're worth their weight in gold, and they're senior players at 34, 35, right? And what they do for players who are obviously trying to make their mark in football in general, as like Morelos and Ryan Jack. Yeah. A manager can't do that, because these guys are on the park actually taking them by the hand. And I think Morelos, and I hope I'm not talking to turn here, but I think Morelos is quite like Jack. I think the pennies dropped with him. He's become a bit more mature, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun.
No, I don't.
Because he's never been in trouble for the last 7 or 8 games. He's been on his best behaviour. Okay, he'll get booked on the odd occasion, which everyone does. But I think, looking at the bigger picture, I think the pennies drop with him as well.
And I think,
I really do.
And I think it's a good point. You're looking at maybe about 150 caps, international caps, between Davis and Defoe, possibly ish. For that on-field guidance. But you know what I noticed? You know what I've noticed even domestically for the start of the season and in Europe as well. Now, word spreads when there's a petulant player playing in the team you're playing against. Now, even in Europe, I watched it last season, word was spreading when Rangers were playing Wilfredo the way he was. Everybody was trying to get him booked. It seems to be a calmness now with the opposition that they're no trying to get him booked and trying to wind him up, because I think they're wasting their time now. Because he's learning. Listen, if they're leaving me alone, I just want my football to do the talking now. So it's an incredible turnaround. Hey, listen, let's not just jump in here and say, he's the best thing for sliced bread,
There will be a flashpoint at some point. It's how he deals with it.
Of course it will. Yeah, last night there was a weakening late challenge on the goalie. I think because leading up to that...
I didn't think it was that late.
Well, for where I sat, it looked quite late. If you're seeing it in the telly better than me, then you'll be able to talk about it better than me.
I didn't think it was that
late.
It
looked quite late for where we were. But what I'm saying is, the lead up to that, Bill, right, there's been nothing went on, right? But he's still playing well. And that, yellow card last night, after that, last year, by the way, I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd hooked him just to make sure he wasn't getting sent off. Last night, he didn't look like getting sent off.
He ran his legs off last night. He really did. He was dead in his feet by the time he came off because he never stopped.
He does a shift.
I thought he was magnificent. I really did.
Well, the manager was
I thought he was unbelievably good. I thought the way that he chased the ball down, the way that he helped pin them back in their own half, the opportunities he created. There was a couple of balls he put across the box, and there was nobody there because he had put the ball in there.
Aye.
And you just thought, how did nobody else? And I remember Dennis Law saying, the best person to put a ball in a box for a striker is another striker, because he knows exactly where it's got to go.
Yeah, I suppose so. And that's probably the problem by playing one, when he does venture out to get on it.
You're banjaxed.
Yeah. You've no real... Arfield, I've got to say as well, deserves a mention. I would say technically there is better players in the game than Scott Arfield.
I thought he got a wee bit scruffy towards the end of the game, and I think they took him off at the right time because he was. I was worried when he gave away that final free kick. I thought, see if this costs Rangers the game, son. Everything you've done good, and there was plenty of it last night, is going to be wiped out.
To get down the pan, I think the manager knows when he's had enough out of Scott Arfield and more. But when you think about it, a player that has had a great career, kept himself fit and good nick,
never stops working,
doesn't stop working, and Rangers need that link in there, because if Davis is getting on it and Jack's the spoiler but the passer, you do need somebody cheating and trying to get beyond them to get in the box, and he puts a shift in as well.
Alright boys, we're going to move on to the fixtures. Before I do, Ben's put a wee tweet up for us. The problem for Ojo is he's going to be compared to Kent, who was involved in everything good last season, whereas Ojo drifts in and out of games. The numbers are there already though, and I think that's a good point. And I think people do have an expectation of him, because he's come from the Liverpool development setup, as Kent did, that he's going to be another Ryan Kent, different player completely. And as I say, he will drift in and out of games. I thought it was important he got that goal last night, because people were starting to ask questions about him, and that was just the right time to get it for him. Let's move on and go to the fixtures for this weekend. Before I do, our first game, Motherwell against Ross County. Can I apologise, and I mean this to all Motherwell fans, because when we look back on last week's fixtures, when Motherwell beat Hearts, we spoke about Hearts because of the turmoil and didn't mention Motherwell in terms of what a great result it was for them. So my apologies for that. We just got a wee bit carried away with everything that's happened at the Tynecastle. But let's talk about Motherwell Ross County now.
Yeah, just before you went to the fixtures, and maybe just something to throw in. What about the statement?
Oh, very quickly. Yeah. Give me one other thing that I need to tell you guys, and we'll talk about it if you want to. Right. Graham Doran signed for Dundee until the end of the season. Good signing.
I think James McPick had said that he was desperate to get him up. I think he was sitting by the old bat phone hoping for it would ring and he would come up. They've obviously looked after him financially, because he'd been on a good number at Ibrox and looked after him. So I think he's a quality midfield player that needs to play, and Dundee are looking to go up. So it's something they can build on there. And he's a good player. He's been unfortunate with injuries, but he's got good stock, played at great level, did well out the game, and I'm pretty sure that Dundee will be well chuffed to get that out of the line.
Higgs?
Well, it's been the talk most of the week in the local press, Bill and Hugh. Two ex-players that played with Livingston, obviously. Young James McVeigh, when he was at Livingston when I was there, he eventually went to Coventry City, and then obviously Dorrans went down south and played Norwich, and then came back up to play for Rangers. The only thing that is that he had a serious injury. I think it was against Kilmarnock on that surface. So it'll be interesting to see how he is. But I'm sure he's fit and ready to go. But for Dundee's point of view, it's a decent signing. You know, experienced player. You know, he's been through, you know, thick and thin. He's played at the highest level, and it can only be a good signing for Dundee.
Great story, guys, today in the record as well. Just going down into the capital, Davy Weir says that Hearts fans can protest as loudly as they want against Craig Levein, but it will fall on deaf ears. Big statement for Davy Weir there, talking about Anne Budge saying that she's got a plan. The directors have spoke to Craig, and basically it's just going to be status quo. Higgs, what's your thoughts on that?
I must admit, you and I go back to most times it's easy fodder, you know, being the manager and getting sacked. I think it's nice that's happening. You know, you talk about loyalty from players staying at clubs and players move on or managers move on, and you know when clubs are going through a hard spell, like Hearts and Hibs, and we'll speak about that later on. I think that's nice, and it's good that chairman, in this case chairwoman Anne Budge is doing that, because the easy thing is to hire and fire,
sure,
and to go with the flow, which is the supporters. I know that supporters are not happy with it, but neither is Anne Budge, neither is Craig Levein, and they're trying their utmost. And I know that people in the society nowadays is hire and fire, and it's easy call to get rid of the manager. I've said it not just because it's Craig Levein and Hearts. I've said it on numerous occasions on these shows that I like strong cheer men and cheery women, and in this case Anne Budge is doing the right thing for herself, I think, and obviously for Craig Levein. If things go, you know, pear-shaped on Sunday against Hibs, and obviously it will get worse and worse, but that will be interesting to see how strong Anne Budge is. But I go back to Maddie when Wee Jim was under severe pressure. We lost the chairman, which was Johnson Grant. They stuck to the guns, and they said nothing's happening. And if Wee Jim had left, we probably would not got the success that we had probably under any other manager. I know Alex Ferguson was the same at Man U. It does happen. You know, managers do turn clubs around. I'm not saying it's going to happen at Hearts, but to me, I find it really refreshing that people are backing managers, because easy fodder, get rid of the manager, players are bulletproof, and I'm delighted that that's happening. I'm sure the Hearts fans are not happy with it. I'm sure you'll not be. You may be the opposite of me, but I just think it's really refreshing that people are sticking up for other people at the clubs.
I see as well, Bill, in the paper that the General Secretary of the Federation of Hearts Supporters Club said, I find it hard because I'm hard to believe that I'm a huge fan of Craig Levein and have been since his playing days, but after recent displays and results, there's no way I can defend him much longer. Feedback from Budge's statement is it went down like a lead balloon.
Well, that's because it was a badly crafted statement, guys, and Paul, I am at odds with you on this one, and I'll tell you why. People are very quickly making judgment on this season. This is a continuum of last season. The last few months, a couple of months of the season, last season was terrible. They have the lowest points tally, 28 points, of any team in the Premier League since last October. They've only won 28 points since last October until now. Now, that is absolutely shocking. And Ian Cathro, although I thought it was the wrong appointment and I didn't rate the guy personally, he was huckled, and any other manager would be showing the door under those circumstances. If Craig Levein was still director of football and somebody else was managing the team and had the performance level and the win level that Craig Levein's had, they would be gone by now.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Let me just tell you where Anne Budge's statement was badly crafted, right? She said, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember it verbatim, but it's not too far away from what I'm about to tell you. She said, if anybody thinks our plan was to be low down in the league or even at the bottom of the league, they're sadly mistaken. Craig Levein has to, at every board meeting, give an appraisal against plan as to where we are. Now, if she's saying in one breath the plan wasn't to be at the bottom of the league, and the manager's given an appraisal every time he goes in front of a board meeting as to where they are against plan, the plan's obviously wrong or it's not working. Because she said it wasn't their plan to be bottom of the league. He's telling them where they are against the plan, and the plan is shot to put.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. It's gone. So it was a bad statement for me. I thought it tried to pull the wool over the fans' eyes, and it then went on to blame the media for telling a load of untruths and saying things that we thought were factual that weren't actually factual. Here's the fact. For Anne Budge and for Craig Levein and all the Hearts fans, Hearts are bottom of the league. That's the fact.
After how many league games?
Well,
Forget last season.
No, you can't forget last
can.
season. No, you cannot.
You can. It's this season.
You cannot forget
yes, it is,
last
because
season.
they spoke about this in
it's
the summer.
It's the same manager getting the same performance
Doesn't
as
matter.
last season.
This season.
You're wrong.
It's this season that counts.
You're wrong. Well, all right. Well,
Right.
where are they this season?
Yeah, they're the bottom of the league.
Right.
How many games have they played?
Doesn't matter how many games
How
he's
many
played.
games have they played?
5.
5 games.
Right.
5 games. They didn't have a great Betfred. They've not a great Betfred. They've 1 or 2 players out injured. Their main man's out injured again, Naismith, and Souttar's out, and Washington's out. Same as it happened last season. Okay, they got him to the top of the league. But I do agree. But you know something? Good on her. She's the owner. She's the investor. And you know something? They'll still go and watch the Hearts.
No, they won't.
Aye, they will.
No, they won't.
Aye, they will.
They
They'll
will
not dwindle.
not. I'll tell you
I'm
now.
glad they've stopped by him.
See if they draw.
I'm glad they've stopped by
See
him.
if they draw, they get beat by Hibs. I guarantee you'll see uproar at Hearts.
Well, aye, but hey, listen.
There's a demonstration planned at Easter Road
See, at the end
this
of the day,
weekend.
she's the gaffer. Right? I don't always agree the way you run your radio station, but you're going to change it for me.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Don't
It's
be
exactly
two-faced.
the same.
Don't be two-faced and hypocritical.
No, not at all.
You are.
No.
You're being absolutely.
You own the radio station.
Yeah, forget that. You're being two-faced and hypocritical.
No,
What
no.
is it you say about football people making football decisions?
Well, listen.
Football people making football
what
decisions.
I'm saying is,
owners coming in and running companies, running football clubs when they know nothing about football. Was that the same Hugh Burns?
absolute nonsense.
Aye,
Absolute nonsense.
It was
There'll be-
nonsense then. It's nonsense
There'll be
now.
things go on in businesses. Things will go on in businesses, and you go, the owners, they give in. Do they give in to the shop floor? No, they do because they own the company and they'll run it the way they want to do it. So he'll keep doing it the way she wants to do it.
The same Hugh Burns that said football people should make football decisions. Good on her.
She's got a bond with Craig Levein.
Full of nonsense.
There's 4 or 5 games have been
full of
played.
nonsense.
Give the guy a break. And you know, let him get on with it.
Try and wake up from your snooze this
I'm
afternoon.
not having a snooze. You just don't like it. I've come in here before. You've sat there. Aye, no bother. King of the castle.
You're
You
a
do this, Bill.
hypocrite.
No, we're not doing
You're
that.
a hypocrite.
How? Because I'm the man. My name's first up on the screen.
You're a hypocrite.
Check that. My name's first up on the screen. Aye, no bother.
You're an absolute
Big Bill
hypocrite.
Budge. Billy Budge. That's your name.
You're an absolute hypocrite.
Bill Budge.
Hang on, Higgs. How many times have you heard them say footballing people should make footballing decisions? Owners come in and think because they own the club they can just make decisions without talking to football people. How many times? Come on.
Aye, but Bill Hughes...
But nothing. But nothing.
I just got to defend me.
But the bottom line is, it's her company, it's her club. She can do what she wants.
Exactly.
That isn't
exactly,
Higgs. That isn't technically true.
Football guy. Listen to the football guy.
That isn't technically true.
Listen to the football guy.
That isn't technically true because the Hearts fans have put thousands of pounds into that club.
And they'll continue to do it because they love the club.
No, a lot of them are not.
Oh, my knickers. They'll keep going and watching them. That's rubbish, Bill. You know it.
Liam Telfer.
Never mind Liam Telfer.
I see. There you go.
Liam Telfer this, Liam Telfer that. Liam, support your manager, support your owner, and be a true fan. The easiest thing is to be a keyboard gangster and come on and game pelters and what have you, all that stuff.
Where
just support.
Where did you learn that?
Just you support your jambos. Hearts, glorious hearts.
Where did you learn that jargon, keyboard gangster? Hey? Balloon. Higgs, anyway, carry on.
I know Higgs, because Higgs is a football guy. We know how it works. You don't.
Aye, that's right. That's right.
That'll put you in your place. You don't like that. Your big dummy comes out when we start.
Not at all. I start.
Hey, wait a minute. At the end of the day, Anne Budge is the investor. Right?
I start laughing at you because
you don't have to laugh at me.
Because it all rings in my ears. Football people should make football decisions. Owners, they come in and they think they know about football, and they make decisions.
But
now it's Anne Budge, Anne Budge, and
Craig Levein's position's a wee bit different for your normal manager there.
It's not.
Aye, it is. It's because he's been the director of football.
It's a results-driven game, you lunatic.
How many games he played, you trumpet? 4 games.
It's a results-driven game.
See, sometimes you're a right pain in the backside, so yeah. It's your ball, it's my ball. My name's first up in this game. I'm always right. You listen to the football boys.
Ben, who's the most people involved with a club? Come on, Hugh, you're well off here.
Who's the most people involved with a club? What do you mean?
Well, who pays? Who goes to pay and watch every
the
week?
fans' opinions count. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, they count now when you're getting criticism.
Wait a minute. You can't keep them all.
when you're getting criticism.
You know something? I hope the big man turns it round and goes to the lot of them and turns them and gets the Hearts up the league, because he's a big fighter and he's a winner, and he'll turn it round.
Motherwell against Ross County. Who wants to start? You can start.
Who brought up the Hearts thing anyway?
You balloon.
I'll start, Bill. You're talking about Motherwell, right? Apart from...
So well if we had a blowout.
They're the form team. You know, they've done ever so well. 3 wins, a draw and a loss, and only 5 games played. I'm being sarcastic, sorry about that, Bill, but...
Aye, but
love it, Higgs, love it.
Aye, but Higgs, they're doing it with the next Hearts manager at the helm.
Could be, possibly.
But that's rumours, Bill. Come on, we can start rumours quite easily.
Yes.
That's unfair. And Robinson...
100%, I've got to agree with you, Bill.
It's unfair with Craig Levein as well. And I know Craig quite well. I don't want to see any manager get the sack, and I just fear for society in general, because the easy bit in football is get rid of the manager.
Higgs,
right.
Higgs. If it was another manager, and Craig Levein was director of football, what action would he take after these results? And you cannot ignore the results, because it's a continuum of last season. What would he do? What would he do?
Results, but like everything else, you've got to go with the flow. Nothing was said when they got to the cup final.
Exactly, Higgs.
I know it probably sort of shelved what happened in the league position. They got to the final, but the way they played that day in the cup final was excellent against Celtic, albeit they lost. But you know, and I'm not defending Craig, because obviously he's big enough to do that, but he has, like a lot of teams, have had bad run of injuries, and the senior players we spoke about, Davis and Defoe playing for Rangers. You've got Naismith, who's been out for 2 or 3 games this season as well. He's a big play, and he's going to come back on Sunday and play against Hibs. And if he does play against Hibs on Sunday, we'll see how good Hearts are on that day.
Higgs, listen. Higgs, I've got to echo everything you said there. You know, the big fella just sits there in his throne, eating his marshmallows, drinking his water, and he just spouts off. He's not played the game. He played the game at a Mickey Mouse level. Yeah, I'm granted he knows the media side of things, but he doesn't know what it's like. He doesn't know what it's like to be in there at the cutthroat side of the game, and he's trying to interrupt me again, but I'm not going to let him. He'll just turn me off anyway. I know he will. But the bottom line is, Higgs, I agree with you. 2v1. That's good enough for me.
Right, can I ask you a level then? Because this is, you throw this at me all the time, that I played at a Mickey Mouse level.
You did?
Semi-pro.
I never said that.
But I'll say it.
No, he's saying it. Semi-pro. So are you telling me that people from Arbroath downwards in the leagues in Scotland are all Mickey Mouse players?
I never said. I'm not talking about Arbroath.
They're all semi-pro.
No, they're not.
They are the semi-pro.
No, they're not.
They're part-time semi-pro.
Professional footballers. Listen.
Higgs, am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
They're no semi-pro. I don't look at them as semi-pro. Still professionals.
It's just because you like to be offensive to me.
No, you had 2 nights training and 3 days eating.
No,
that's all you.
No.
You were a full-time pro.
No. You saw the pictures when I was playing.
Aye.
So
sitting on the bench eating.
Don't be offensive.
I seen you sitting eating a pie on the bench.
Don't be offensive. You're being, not to me, you're being offensive to all those part-time players.
Don't start twisting it on me. You're good at that.
No.
I'm no... Listen.
No, that's fine.
I was never semi-pro in my life.
Absolutely
I
fine.
am not having a go at any part-time player. I'm having a go at you, because you were a part-time footballer with a Mickey Mouse team.
I was a semi-pro footballer.
Aye, with a Mickey Mouse team.
Well, that's offensive as well.
Well, I'm only saying...
That Mickey Mouse team has played in the Champions League. It's played in Europa League.
Long after you left.
Well, that's not the point.
They
played Celtic in the European Cup.
I'll listen to Hegarty's opinion, well ahead of yours when it comes to football.
That's okay. I'll try and get a few of these Mickey Mouse players on nights when you're in, and you can talk to them. See how happy they are about it. Higgs, fire away. Motherwell, Ross County.
They're the form team out with the old furnace now, and I just think, even like so, I saw Stephen Robinson's team against Celtic, and they lost fairly narrowly at the start of the season. Bill, they were excellent, albeit I think it was 5-2 or 5-3 ended up, but they looked to me as if they were energetic. They looked to me as if they had something about them, and what I liked about it was they were prepared to have a go at Celtic. even though they were losing fairly heavily during the game. But how I like about Stephen Robinson is, he's had a lot of problems throughout the last 18 months, losing players down south, young players leaving the club, and he's had to sort of master a team again, and that's what he's done. But he's done it very quickly, which is unusual, and he's done it in a way that, he's brought players in who are probably fairly unknown, likes Seedorf, albeit his father's well known and famous, but he's just trying to cut his teeth in football in general because he's a youngster. You've got Hilton, who scored last week, Gallagher coming from Livingston. So I just feel that he's a manager that can see a player, and the people who are actually looking at players within the Motherwell setup are doing their job. They're doing their job correctly, and albeit, I think he's done exceptionally well. Ross County tomorrow, they got back into winning ways last week, which is important for them, because they lost a couple of games before that, and they scored really late on against St Mirren, and Jim Goodwin wasn't chuffed about that. He was hoping to see the game out because he scored with 15 minutes to go and didn't see that. But Ross County, have got 2 wins, 2 defeats and a draw. So I think the co-managership up there will be fairly pleased with 7 points in the bag because it's a tough league, coming from the Championship. They'll be hoping to try and do what Livingston did last year at the start, set the heather on fire and get as many points in the bag as possible, because come the end of the season, that's when teams start to falter and start to tire, and Ross County possibly could be that one of the teams that are going to do what Livingston did, fall away at the end of the season. But they've got 7 points in the bag, and I'm sure the Kettlewell and Ferguson will be inwardly delighted with the points in the bag. But I think going to Fir Park tomorrow is a real toughie, because I like Steve Robinson's style. I like the way his team plays, and they've got 10 points in the bag after 5 games, which is good going.
Shug, I worry about Ross County moving from Dingwall. Whenever they play away from home, I've always got concerns about them. They seem to be great at home, but when they're on the road, I don't know. There's something
hard to fancy.
Yeah, for me.
They're hard to fancy. Games like cup finals are their win last week, getting a late win. I think the captain get in the end of a cross, go to the winner, and fantastic 3 points. Hard for Jim to swallow, but the fact that County got their points. Motherwell just, they were magnificent last week, I believe, at Tynecastle, and it was great because they did a great
And of course,
thing.
Liam Donnelly's the league's top scorer at the minute.
Well, there you go. And I was reading, you did a big article, the Record did a great article on Stevie Robinson during the week, Paul, and their main man down south, a guy called Martin Foyle. Remember the striker that played with Port Vale? He's their main talent spotter. Has been for a while. Remember the guy, big striker, big strong lad who played up front? Yeah.
I don't recall.
He's probably just kind of in ages between me and Heggs. I would say he's probably near the kind of 60 mark now. I remember Martin Foyle, and he's their main, watching every game. Sometimes 3 games in a day. Lives out a suitcase. He's the guy that's unearthing the gems and what have you. And talking about the Hearts thing. These will be stuff that other clubs will be looking at, the recruitment of what Martin Foyle is given Motherwell. And when there's somebody down south seeing these players and recommending them to the managers, you're not going to take them all. Physically can't he do that? But when you've got somebody working round the clock for your club, that's like kind of John Park in the northern kind of hemisphere type, that way, and he's doing his business for Stephen Robinson. He can see that because he's now beginning to get things in. And I watched Motherwell again last year with Turnbull and Hastie in the team and Curtis Main. There's 3 big players that they've lost, and 1 or 2 other players had left. And suddenly, there's nobody talking about these players. And Turnbull's still to come back, remember. He's still a Motherwell player. So, there's still people to add to that particular team. I think Motherwell an absolute banker tomorrow. I think you've nailed it with Ross County. Not been big enough and strong enough. And physically, I think, and even mentally believing that they can go and win it Motherwell tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've just texted, strangely enough, looking at a fixture to go tomorrow. I've texted wee Youngie who's at Cove, and he's get connected. So I've texted him to go to the game, and I'd like to go to that game tomorrow. So,
oh, thanks.
Aye, well, you're not going. I'll go with his dad. His dad goes to me when he goes to the game. No, you're fine. You're not allowed it.
At least you're not huffy when you lose arguments. That's one.
I never lost the argument. I'm quite happy. I brought it up and I finished that. I've started so
Give me
finished.
a result for Motherwell against Ross County, please.
So finish.
Magnus.
Well done. Okay. Excuse me, I wasn't finished with.
Yeah, you are, because I need to move on, because you spent that much time blowing hot air about other things that were pushed up for the clock now.
I'm not. Well, I'm just going to slow down all the time.
Well, in that case, you'll not get your beloved team covered.
I'm going to go for the mighty Motherwell 3, Ross County 0.
Heggs.
2-0 Bill Motherwell. Yep.
Okay, Livingston against Aberdeen.
Heggs.
Well, Derek McInnes was obviously stating on the television tonight that it's the worst spell he's had since he's been manager at Aberdeen off injuries. You know, he's got Bryson out, McKenna out, Ash Taylor out, and in total I think it's 6 first-team players out. So, you know, they've been sort of hot and cold. Aberdeen drew last week against St Johnstone, 1-1. And from that point of view, that wasn't good reading, because by all accounts they did us so well in the first half, and then in the second half St Johnstone got the upper hand, so it was a great point away from home for the Saints. But I'm sure Derek would want and love the 3 points that he was looking for, and I think they're just sort of, you know, they've got a real hard week coming up as well, because they've got the Cup against Hearts and midweek, and I think they play Rangers next weekend as well. So it's a busy 3 games for Derek McInnes against a Livingston team that have started pretty well again, albeit probably not as good as last year, but got 8 points on the board, which is more than 50% pointage on the board, because I just think the way Gary Holt has done ever so well, and I'm glad he's recovered from his wee bit of shock he had a couple of weeks ago. But, you know, losing to Rangers last week was, you know, not a surprise, but I'm sure Gary would think that, you know, they'll try and get something out of that game, albeit maybe a draw maximum or at the best. But I think he's done well. I think they've started the season well, and I'm sure they'll give a good account of themselves against an Aberdeen side that's not firing on all cylinders because of the injuries.
Yeah, Higgs, I watched them last week against Rangers, and I thought they were brilliant last week against Rangers, and very, very unfortunate not to come away from Ibrox with something. I thought they were a better team. Rangers didn't play that great, came out 3-1 winners, but the big boy Lyndon Dykes, will he be off tomorrow? It was 2 yellows. Does that mean he can play tomorrow, can he?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it's not an automatic red, so it's 2 yellows. And he, by the way, looks. You say he's in loan for Queen of the South as well.
No, they've signed him, and then they loaned him to Queen. He's at Livingston now. He's signed for Livingston.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, the big boy that plays up front was outstanding. There a couple of half chances, and McGregor kept him in the game. And if they play that way against Aberdeen tomorrow, they'll give Aberdeen a game. Especially what Higgs is saying, he's watched a bit of Grampian, and they're saying there's a few players out injured,
and especially key players in the middle of defence.
Well, you're right, and Bryson as well out in the middle of the park. So, you know, 1 or 2 players out, you know, can certainly upset them a little bit for team selection. But, you know, Gary Holt's doing everything he can to the best of his ability there and getting results. And they're organised, they're fit, they pass the ball well. They were so well organised, Higgs, last Saturday, and a lot of Rangers fans that I know after the match were saying how well Livingston played, and much better year on year. And the thing is, Livingston are getting better every year, Paul. They're getting better. They're not just surviving. They'll win more games. They'll listen, I'll guarantee you right now they'll finish above Hamilton. I think St Mirren and clubs down there like that, St Johnstone, I think they'll be pushing above them as well. So I don't think Livingston have got any fear at all of getting in that drop zone if they keep playing the way they did last week. And that's away from home. You know, at home again, you know, they're even more dangerous playing on that particular surface. So I think Aberdeen are in for a battle tomorrow, as you say, with some big names out. Livingston playing well. I wouldn't even say it would be a major shock if we read it tomorrow night that Livingston have got a result. But I would think Livingston will be hanging in there tomorrow.
I think Livy are a better footballing team this season than they were last season, and I think they're more adaptable and more pliable.
Lost as well.
I agree. Well,
big guns, you know.
Yeah. You look at Declan Gallagher, Craig Halkett, Liam Kelly, Dolly Menga. You know, they're stalwart players for Livy.
The goalie, did you say the goalie? You mentioned the goalie.
Liam Kelly.
Aye,
Yeah.
you know, there's a few have left, and they've got better. His recruitment's been good and been strong, so good on him.
Heggs, what do you think the score will be?
I think it'll be a draw, Bill. I think it'll be 1-1.
I'm going to go a Desmond 2-2.
Okay, all right.
Goals.
Right, St Mirren against Hamilton, and this is one of those ones, boys, that even this early in the season is a 6-pointer, because these are the teams that Hamilton need to beat St Mirren because they're round about them, and St Mirren need to beat Hamilton because they're round about them. Hugh?
Yeah, listen, you know, I know Jim's been on and he said that he's happy with his squad and one or two things that he needs to tinker about with, but again, when you read about, you know, Brian St Rice had a couple of players, he says that Aaron Muirhead should be fit, and one or two other players you're looking to bring in on Saturday should bolster his squad and make them a bit stronger, but this is a hard one. That's one that you know you would stay away from it if you're having a bet. It's just one of those that, you know, St Mirren at home, would you fancy them? Hamilton have went away and get good results away from home as well last season as well. It's a real toss of the coin, this one. Two very evenly matched teams, evenly matched squads. I think if Big George Oakley plays, I think they've got a chance. He's particularly on the ball right now up front, the big fella. And kind of well organised. Darian McKinnon, strangely enough, who we spoke about, has been left out the last couple of games. I found that quite strange, but he's had a chat with Darian, says that he's very much in his thoughts. I don't know as much. If you've left one of your best players out for 2 games, not just a game, 2 games, and I find that quite a hard one that Chipper's come up with that one. He's a manager, he's a guy that picks a team, but Darren McKinnon would always be in my Hamilton team. So I think the fact that Hamilton are going down there, very much, you know, one to look at. You get a result there tomorrow, you're coming away delighted. If you've got a point, you're coming away fairly happy. But again, if St Mirren get 3 on you, then you're disappointed.
Paul?
Bill, you took the words right out of my mouth, because you had mentioned, you know, so early in the season, a 6-pointer. And it is really because, you know, 2 teams, just what you were saying, they're evenly matched. There's very little between the 2 teams personnel-wise as well, because, you know, they've had to sort of scrimp and save and get players in that are probably unknown players to a lot of people. And that's what Brian Rice and Jim Goodwin have got to deal with. And I just feel that the 2 teams are evenly matched. I think from Hamilton's point of view, I know losing to Celtic 1-0 last week at home was probably, and it sounds stupid, but it was like a moral victory.
Paul, can I just butt in and interrupt you for a wee minute, mate? And I'm sorry, but there's a point I want to make, and I think Chippers had even recognised this. Hamilton are a 45-minute team. You see, if Hamilton had played in the first half the way they played in the second half, I think they might have got a point out of last week. I'm not being funny because it was Celtic. I genuinely think, because Celtic didn't look comfortable and didn't like the surface, like Rangers don't look comfortable on these surfaces. But Hamilton in the second half really had chances and could have taken them. But even Chipper, I think, is convinced at the minute he's only getting 45 minutes out of his team, and they've got to find a way of playing for 90 minutes for me.
Well, they didn't have a belief until it was too late. And sometimes when you're playing against Old Firm, you know, you've just got to realise that you're playing against Celtic and Rangers, but you've got to put that on the back burner. And I'm not saying go for it, literally, but you've got to make sure that you try and get forward as often as possible. And they didn't do that until later on against Celtic, and by that time, you know, probably Celtic were going to see this game out. But, you know, morally, I was going to say, Bill, as well, it was quite a moral victory for Hamilton, albeit, you know, they lost 1-0, because when the Old Firm come, I'm not saying it's a cricket score, but usually it can be a real doing. And then when you take a doing from any team above you, then confidence starts to sag. But, you know, I'm like yourself. I just wish teams would maybe have a real go at the Old Firm, more so when they're playing at home, because just what you said, Celtic weren't firing all cylinders against Hamilton, and that was probably a good opportunity to try and take 1 point at least against Celtic last week at New Douglas Park. But I'm like you, I think there's very little between the 2 teams, and I must admit, I think there'll be a share of the spoils tomorrow.
What do you think the score's going to be, Paul?
Desmond, 2-2.
I'm going to go St Mirren 1, Hamilton 2.
Okay,
right. Go for the Ackies to get a wee 3 points.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll look ahead to the Sunday games, 3 of which there are this week.
Have you picked up the Feel the Heat brochure from your local plumb base? Get one today and take advantage of great offers, including Polypipe's Polymax 100-piece fittings bucket at £99.99. That's a 15% saving on purchasing individual pieces, and it's exclusive to plumb base. The Polypipe Polymax 100-piece fittings bucket is just part of the Polypipe range available in the plumb base Feel the Heat brochure. Shop online now at plumbase.co.uk or grab one from your local branch.
At Motorpoint, we put the super into car supermarket. We're here to save the day with a choice of over 7,000 low-mileage, nearly new cars. Find your next car in a flash with our lightning fast service and same-day drive away. Plus, with Motorpoint's price pledge, if you find the same car for less, we'll match the price and give you a £50 Amazon voucher. Visit Motorpoint Glasgow today, just 2 minutes from Junction 3 of the M74. T's and C's apply. See website for details.
The list of things you need to do gets longer at this time of year, whether that's for the house or in your business. So take one thing off your list right now. Your septic tank could need emptied. Let Grant Henderson Tankers empty your septic tank in the home or work, farm, factory or workshop at very competitive rates. We are septic tank specialists, experienced, safe and dedicated to environmental safety with our own licensed disposal site. Find out more at wemovesh.it or call 01698 284 987. Grant Henderson Tankers. Let the experts manage your waste.
William, Pamela and Anthony were sold investments by banks and ended up losing money. Luckily, they contacted Goodwin Barrett and were able to claim back a total of £65,500. If you've lost money on an investment sold by a bank, even if you no longer have it or the paperwork, just text GOOD to 66777 to discover how much you could be owed. That's GOOD to 66777. You don't need a claims management company to make a complaint, and if unsuccessful, you can refer it free to the Financial Ombudsman.
Love music, live sport. Talking Football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.
OK, there's 3 games on Sunday. Let's start with them if we possibly can. Let's kick off with St Johnstone against Rangers at McDermott Park. It's televised. It's a 12:15 kickoff. Your thoughts on this one, Mr Burns?
Yeah, it's going to be a hard game for Rangers. There have been a couple of games up there at McDermott, and Rangers always find it quite tough. And listen, suddenly within a couple of weeks, I know strangely enough we had, St Johnstone a bit doom and gloom and a bit static and stale and, older players there and what have you. And then suddenly a couple of players, Paul, that have come in that he's got in loan. He's got Jason Holt for Rangers, who was down at Fleetwood and had a decent season down there, got himself fit again. And the boy Anthony Ralston, the right back, who I think, again, much better player than Ricky Foster. No disrespect, Foster's good days, I think, are behind him now. So I think Ralston's a good signing for them. Dre Wright, the wee guy that he got for Chesterfield, the wee winger who got a real bad cruciate injury last season, was flying as well when he got injured. He looks to be back in. Matt Kennedy looks as though he's got his wee spark back, and 1 or 2 other positions that he's filled. So suddenly, St Johnstone, I believe, held their own last week at Pittodrie as well. So they'll probably suddenly, all of a sudden, fancy their chances. Rangers come calling, players lift their game, it's a full house, the weather's to be decent, I think, up there as well. And I think Rangers are up, not up against it, but they'll be up against a pretty buoyant St Johnstone team. And flip side of that, Rangers just need to keep going. Rangers need to keep winning. They can't lose games. They'll be looking at going on a run now for the next Old Firm game. I know of only 2 or 3 games I've played for the Beaters over the road, but Rangers now need to win every league game. They can't drop points.
Stephen Gerrard quite critical of the SPFL on behalf of both Rangers and Celtic, saying that he finds it unbelievable that after tough European matches, Celtic being in Rennes and having to travel, and Rangers having a tough tie against Feyenoord, that they're both getting early kickoffs on Sunday.
I've got
I'm only telling you what Stephen Gerrard's saying.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. It's an hour up the road. It's like, what is it? They come in this morning, best of everything on. They've got Friday to prep, Saturday to prep, Sunday morning, and an early kick-off. Listen, it's not going to change. It's for the telly. It's monetary, isn't it? At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, and they've got to deal with it. As long as it's for Rangers, from Mybrooks to McDermott, an hour and 10. So, police escort, no drama. I think we've got bigger things to worry about. The manager's opinion's the manager's opinion, but in my opinion, I think players they're so well tuned in now to early kick-offs and everything's right. There's no players out in the razzle after games. Maybe we used to be. Certainly not the night before game, we were all good boys. But listen, now it's a different ball game, and he knows that. So, well, you can see his point of view, but I wouldn't go along with that one, Bill.
Paul?
Well, I think Hugh's hit the nail on the head. It's TV money, Me personally, I think they should be played at 3 o'clock. And I think with Celtic and Rangers being in Europe this week, I think you've got to try and help them as much as you can, because irrespective of who's in Europe, if it was Aberdeen or the two Edinburgh clubs or whatever, I think you've got to sort of try and help these clubs to do well in Europe, but also when it comes to Scottish fixtures, I think you've got to sort of try and work your way around it. I remember when we got to the UEFA Cup final and had the Scottish Cup in 1 week. We never got any help from the SFA, so nothing's changed, and that was 35, 40 years ago. So I know where Stevie Gerrard's coming from, but until the powers above realise what footballers are about, footballers are no robots, they are human beings, and I think they should try and do their utmost to help any team that's in Europe. So when it comes to domestic competitions, help them likewise. And I know what Hugh's saying, it's only 2 or 3 hours difference, but sometimes, as you well know, 2 or 3 hours can make a difference, especially if you've got a sort of wee niggling injury that you're going to play anyway. Mm-hmm. But if you get maybe a few hours longer, it might help.
I don't agree with that, Higgs. I think if he's injured on that day, then he's not going to make it. I think.
You've played injuries before that you shouldn't have played, but you do.
I know what you mean. But if you're up on a Sunday morning, the game's at 12:15, doesn't mean to say you're going to be fit if it's 3 o'clock. So, at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I think at 12:12, you're up early doors on a Sunday morning, you're ready to go. What's going to be the procedure for the Rangers boys? They're going to be.
Like to play 12:12, Hugh, honestly. I wouldn't like that.
Well, I know a lot of people are busy on a Sunday with other things and what have you. So,
So can I just kind of wind back a wee bit? Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but that doesn't include me, I'm assuming, since, my opinion doesn't count because I was Mickey Mouse.
No, I didn't say that. But when it came to the football...
That opinion.
Listen, I listen to Higgs' opinion. When it comes to a football...
And then disagree with him. You listen to his opinion, then say, I don't agree with you.
You and I generally...
You don't agree with anybody.
You and I generally...
You could start around an empty house.
You and I generally fall out about things that you think you know about, and really deep down you don't. So you get involved in conversation, especially with Paul and I, with stuff that you should really just stay out of.
Okay.
Rangers 2-0. A 12:15 kick-off. Nothing wrong with that. Boys will be at Murray Park.
Higgs hasn't even spoken about the game. He's only talking about the timescale now.
Well, listen...
Higgs, give us your views on the game now so that we can actually get a learned opinion on it.
I wouldn't say learning it because, you're
he would.
In football. No. I must admit, irrespective of what standards you played, we all have opinions, and I think you've got to respect people's opinions.
Part-time or no?
Well, I played part-time football when I was at Hamilton. I felt that...
It showed. It showed.
Well, I had to learn somewhere. I couldn't go like you and go to one of the best clubs in Scotland.
No, the world, Higgs. The world.
I was
the universe, mate. Get it right. The most successful club team in the universe. Get it right, Paul. Let me hear you say it.
Well, they're certainly not the best.
No, excuse me, Higgs. I says the most successful club side in the world.
Are they? I didn't know that.
Yes, they are. Yes, I know in fact. The most. Jerry Collins, Jerry McCabe, and all your listeners and all your pals, the most successful club side in the world. Carry on, Paul.
See when you're at your most obnoxious worst, it really is very, very unbecoming.
That's the kind of Red Bull it's doing. I'm flying. Gives you wings.
Aye, so does always, but you don't use them, I'm assuming.
Shocking.
My biggest fear for St Johnstone is no won a game yet, and I'm sure Tommy Wright would have preferred if it wasn't Rangers coming tomorrow. So I'll keep it nice and brief. I think it'll be a tough game for St Johnstone.
No, you've got plenty of time, Higgs. You take your time over it. I want to hear what you've got to say.
We're on to 9 tonight, mate.
I value your opinion.
We're on to 9.
It's nice to hear some well-reasoned and rational presentation of opinion.
We're on to 9 because you've missed the last couple of weeks.
Carry on, Higgs.
Okay. Okay. St Johnstone. They had a good result against Aberdeen last week. But my biggest fear is they haven't won a game yet. And I think that's going to continue in Sunday, Bill. Against a team that Rangers, apart from the blemish against Celtic a couple of weeks ago, I think they've got that big a squad that can obviously probably bring in a Defoe tomorrow, or a Katic or someone like that can easy sort of fit in, and against a team that at the moment can't buy a win. So I cannot see St Johnstone winning on Sunday.
I'll tell you what I'm surprised about, guys. Neither of you have brought up, and I think he's in pretty good form for St Johnstone at the minute. I still think the St Johnstone squad is too stale. There's not been enough change there. But I'll tell you who's been a bit of a revelation for them, for me, when I've seen him, and I've seen him I think 3 times now, is Michael O'Halloran, and he's going to want to prove a point to Rangers.
Yeah, missed that one. Good shout. I've played him more direct, and he's got great pace, and again a player who, on the back of his move from St Johnstone to Rangers, kind of just didn't really fit in at Rangers.
No.
I do believe that when Warburton brought him, that they played him wide right, and I says that he's not a winger, he's more direct, and that's what got him his move when they were getting behind the Rangers back two, Paul. And again, you signed a player for a particular position, he ended up moving him and to maybe suit his plans at the time at Ibrox, and I don't think it done him any favours, and kind of fell off a wee bit, went to Australia, came back and got his move and got himself fit again as well. But I see Tony Watts enjoying life, slightly changing.
He's only been there a couple of months. Give him time for the bedding in period to wear off again.
Well,
like
talk about the bedding in period. He's got his wife with him, so that's obviously a very good excuse then, to.
But you know what I mean? Tony Watt will give half a season and then he'll get fed up.
What?
Yeah, you know what I said.
Yeah, I've got to say that when I read that was in my thoughts as well, as we go to publish Tony's held in a transfer request. At the moment. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting that at the end of the paragraph.
No idea how close to the truth that might be.
Exactly. No, he's loving life. He says, Sophia. Is it Sophia? Sophia. I will get there in the end. He's got his missus with him. He's no longer married, and he's settled, and he's enjoying it. And he says he's kind of let it settle down. Fell off the wagon a wee bit again at St Johnstone, but he's got time to get it right, So there you go.
Well, Bulgaria's not the right place to do it because drinks are cheap out there.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's lovely. I've been to Bulgaria. It's a lovely country.
He's going for coffee with people and enjoying life.
But when I was
had an addiction to PlayStation. Did you know that?
No, but when I was there, Russian champagne was like £2.50 a bottle.
Was it really?
Yes.
Paul, we had a hell of a addiction to playing PlayStation after training and what have you.
A lot of players have got that.
Aye.
Seriously, a lot of players spend their time on computer games.
See, Space Invaders, I can't get away from them. Remember the old Space Invaders?
You married too.
Aye, very true.
Right, now you can give me your results for Rangers against St Johnstone.
I'm going to go St Johnstone 0, the mighty Glasgow Rangers 2.
Paul?
2 Rangers, Bill.
Oh, yes, we're turning them.
Okay, Celtic against Kelly.
Brilliant, Hugh.
Celtic against Kelly, and Neil Lennon giving lots of praise to Alessio and the work that he's doing, and now turning round Kelly. So, what's your thoughts on this one, Paul?
Well, I know that they've turned the corner a wee bit. I just feel it's still early days, and the way Alessio was talking, that I think he's changed obviously the way they've played. I think they've went back to, and I've not seen Kilmarnock play at all, but they've maybe went back to how Steve Clark had played them last season. The way they played football. So maybe he's realised that it's like playing football like what they do in Italy, but when you're in Scotland, and if you like, Kilmarnock played like last year against all the clubs and did ever so well under Stevie Clark. Sometimes if it's not broken, why fix it? So I think he's maybe learned the lesson for himself, and obviously with the personnel he has at the club, and obviously the backroom staff have maybe helped him, like say the assistant manager who was under Stevie Clark, and I can't mind his name now. What's his name?
Alec Dyer.
Yeah, Alec Dyer. Yeah. So maybe he's put a few pointers.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
along the manager's way, which we all need, and sometimes if you can get that point across and it actually develops into success, then it helps everyone to gel at the club more. I still think they've still got a long way to go. I don't think, and I think most folk will realise that they'll not have the same success under Stevie Clark compared to last year. The last year and the year before was fantastic, but I just think they've done all right. They've had a couple of wins. They've had 2 defeats and obviously a draw. Great result last week against Hibs. Miller scoring and El McCreaney scoring. Never seen him before, but 2 goals and obviously getting a result against Hibs, who obviously we'll speak about shortly. But when you're playing against Celtic at Parkhead, different kettle of fish. 5 wins, 18 goals for and 3 against. You just wonder, what changes Lennon will make after their end game. You tend to find they'll make a few changes, like say what Rangers will do on Sunday against St Johnstone. They have got a big enough squad to deal with that, and I just think Celtic, have got the bit between their teeth, like the Rangers, and I think it'll be a fairly comfortable afternoon for Celtic.
Tough one for Kelly on the back of a couple of wins, I've got to say. And Alessio Statesley, they're singing his name now. What is happening down there in Kilmarnock? And it's great, listen, the fact that he's won a couple of games, giving everybody a wee bit of confidence and players enjoying training again. It can turn as quick as it turned sour for him. So let's hope, there is a wee bit more harmony in the camp down there, and the fans will back it. Listen, fans don't care who's in charge, as long as your team are winning. You can talk about managers to your blue in the face, but it's come 4:45 on a Saturday night, your teams have won a game of football, and that's all they want to know. Your team can turn up and win football matches, and suddenly he's getting a wee tune out of them. But listen, there is easier places, as you say. Tommy Wright will know me exactly. Want to welcome Rangers with open arms. It's the same with Alessio. I could have picked an easier one to maybe get 3 in the bounds. Big squad at Celtic, similar to what Stevie Gerrard will do with his players at McDermott. They'll be chopping, changing, a bit of rotation, keep the same shape, but players coming in and knowing how they play. That'll keep the continuity going with the way he wants to play it. I can't see Kelly deep down. Celtic will need to have an off day, Higgs, and Kilmarnock will need to be right on tune. And listen, on the back of their 2 wins, they'll go with a wee bit more confidence. But flip side of it, they're going to Celtic Park. There's no many teams go there, Bill, and win. It's 11v11. I say that every Friday when we're doing the predictor. But for me, Celtic better players on the day, turn up, need to win, same as Rangers do, steamroller, next one, next, before you know it, the next Old Firm game rolls up. And, I don't think Kilmarnock are good enough to go and go toe-to-toe with Celtic.
I think one of the things that will always help the Old Firm is just their strength and depth, as you said earlier on. They've both got squads that they can chop and change and replace players. And even Rangers this season, I said it early on, and I'm going to stick with it, despite the fact Rangers didn't turn up against Celtic. Celtic were worthy winners on the day. But, Rangers let themselves down that day. But Rangers can make changes now to their team and not notice any drop in quality. Mm-hmm. And Celtic have been able to do that for the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing that will always win them through.
That's why you've got big wages and big squads and big rotation, and everybody's doing that, and everybody's getting a game.
Just very quickly, Heggs, I've just been reading something here. You've dodged a bullet, mate. Spurs, £637 million of loans originally due for repayment in 2022, now not due to be repaid until 2042. The club have refinanced their debt. See, if you'd have gone there, it could have affected your pension payments.
I'm surprised it's taking you an hour and 15 minutes to bring up
that's
your pension could have been down the spout trying to repay these debts for Spurs.
That's incredible. That's when you realise the game's at a different level, isn't it?
£637 million worth of loans.
Wow. Mere debt. Oh, wow. Hey. That's unbelievable. Incredible.
Unreal.
Heggs, what do you think about the game? Give us a wee predictor then. What do you think?
I'm going to go Celtic 2, Kilmarnock 0, Hugh.
I'm going to go an extra one, Celtic 3, Kelly 0.
Okay, let's move on to the Edinburgh Derby. We've already spoken at length.
You have spoken. You rang? Are you in, Mr. Young? Mr. Young, are you in? Tell you what, rather than start with me and Higgs, let's start with you, big ballface. So you carry on.
No, because my opinion is Mickey Mouse. There's no point in me getting an opinion.
No, you carry on. I'd like to hear it, and let's just see if we can pick wee things out of it. So, fire away now.
Pick wee things out of it.
On you go.
No.
Come on.
No.
Yeah. Do you want me to go first?
You can do what you like.
Well, come on.
Do what you like. You go first. You fire
You
away.
say your name's first up on the screen.
You fire away. Listen. It means nothing to you normally, so don't let it fixate you now.
Right, let's carry on. We got off to a bad start with the Hibs Hearts thing because the big fella went, let's pick a game. I says, yeah, let's go at the game. So stopped the car the other day there, drove into the side of the road, and I text wee Lockie. I says, me and Bill are coming through at the game. Lockie, do your finest, wee man. Centre stand briefs, job done. He texts me back, says, Burnsy, you know we're going to Easter Road. I went, oh no, that's a bad start. We saw the Jambos were at Tiny. So there you are. Didn't he?
You did.
I did. So I apologise. And I can't really tell you what Lockie's reply was to him not having availability tickets to a certain stadium in Edinburgh. Because you know the wee man deep down is steeped in the Hearts tradition. Who would have thought it? You know, Higginbottom is coming out today saying that his team are under real pressure. He wants a reaction. Easy for me to say, the Levine thing, what we've spoke about, obviously I've had an opinion on it. The big fella's had an opinion on it. You've had an opinion on it. Liam Telfer, when I see him, I'm going to batter him, has had an opinion on it. And we've all had an opinion on it. And it is all about opinions at the end of the day, and we'll stand by what we've said. So, big pressure, massive pressure in the game. And Budgies come out and defended Craig Levine and the way they want to go. Very quiet, I've got to say, on the Hibs thing. They've not really had anything from, as you say, upstairs regarding Higginbottom. He's been doing all his talking himself. No really the dreaded vote of confidence for Leanne there, and different things are going on. There's just a lack of confidence in both sets of teams, and when that, anything can happen Sunday. It'll be a great game to watch, but would you really want to be any of the managers on Sunday? I think what really they're saying is Hearts are quite happy, Paul, to be going to Easter Road, because I think sometimes they play decent down there, and I know it's not a far travel across the city, but sometimes away from home and pressure pot games might be no a bad thing. Are you there, Paul? Are you in?
Yes, I am.
Carry on.
I must admit, there's so much riding on this game. You've got two teams both struggling.
Yes.
You've got two managers under severe pressure. You've got two sets of supporters unhappy.
Yeah.
You've got Hibs losing last week at Kilmarnock and Hearts losing to Motherwell at Tynecastle. And it's a flip of the coin for me regarding the result on Sunday, because all the things I've mentioned, who'd have thought the Edinburgh clubs would have been in the situation 9th and 12th respectively in the league, and albeit it's only after 5 games, and it is still early days, but by the standards that they've set in the past, the size of clubs that they are, you'd expect better. But that's the great thing about football. It's unpredictable. If we knew what the results were going to be every Saturday, we'd be doing it at the bookies, and you'd have a wheelbarrow of money coming back up the road saying this is easy. Football in life is no easy, and when you see the football side there, it's even harder to predict games, to predict managers staying or going, and all the things I've said. I've never experienced an old Edinburgh derby like this in all the time that I can remember, because usually one club's riding on the crest of the wave, albeit maybe in the league 3rd or 4th, another team try to catch up, and I just feel that I don't think there's going to be much happening on Sunday in regards to who's going to win the game, because I think it's so tight and it'll be so edgy that I think whoever defends the best will win the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're looking at collectively, Bill, as well, Heggs. I was looking at the tables there. 6 points between the two of them. That's what they've accumulated out of possible 30 when you think about it, available each for the two of them, collectively. And you're right. And, I read that Higginbottom particular pressures. No reason to change. Paul Higginbottom admit there is pressure in Hibs to turn round their dismal run with Hearts, but the Hibs boss is adamant that he's not changed his methods amid increased scrutiny of his performance. Easter Roadside are in the midst of a 4-game winless streak in the Premiership. Hibs' last win was the opening day against St Mirren, which was a last-minute winner against Jim Goodwin St Mirren. And their consecutive defeats, as Higgs said, have been put them. Furious reaction for the fans. He says you're under pressure to get results, you always are. That doesn't change. The only thing that changes are the questions you get asked for fans, the people who judge the game. That's the only thing that changes. The pressure, repeat yourself, under to win games is exactly the same. The preparations you go through are exactly the same, regardless of whether. I've asked about pressure. Yeah, we've got pressure, doing the same things, despite to win the next game is what we prepare for.
You see, this is where I think that it all becomes a little bit offensive towards fans, because people turn around and say that fans make judgments, but the good thing about football is that the fans have got the ideal barometer. It's called the league table, and
which you can always go to.
Yeah, it's a meritocracy football, and the better you do, the higher you go, and that's the situation. And this is why I get a little bit irate about this whole thing about disregarding fans. We talk about fans not being listened to enough. It can't be a selective process. They're either of value and their opinion counts all the time, or they're of no value and it doesn't count any time. You can't chop and change when the fans are of use to you, and that's the problem for me. At the end of the day, these are fans with an expectation level, and they pay their money to see that expectation level achieved. And if you're not doing well, and I'm going to go back to Craig Levein, and I'm going to say this as well, I don't like seeing managers losing their jobs, but I'm a great one for belief that things have got to be fair and equitable. And if it was any other manager and Craig Levein was director of football at Heart of Midlothian, that manager's feet wouldn't be touching the ground. And I'm going to say something that sounds absolutely ridiculous. I think for a number of reasons which are self-evident, Paul Heckingbottom's probably the one that's under the most pressure.
Well, the fact that the powers that be at Hibs they'll look at, again, the barometer, the league table, they'll look at, is the crowd happy? No, they're no, but again, it's the same amount of games played, 5 we've spoke about, so they will give them, I think, around the results of the league in general. Only 5 games they've played. No had a great start. He was pretty confident at summertime.
We all thought they were a top 3 team this season.
We did because his recruitment looked pretty strong. Scott Allen.
But sorry Hugh, just to butt in, I brought this up last night, and I'll just refresh people's memories about it again. You see, halfway through the window, Paul Heckingbottom said, "That's our business done," and Hibs fans were all over social media saying, "What's he saying? All our business is done. We need this, we need that, we need the next thing." Now, money was put into the club by the new owner, but he didn't discriminate as to where the money was spent. He said that was for up to the day-to-day management of the club and the chief exec, and they would actually decide how much went to recruitment and how much didn't. Have Hibs spent this money wisely?
Well, it doesn't look like it right now, does where they are sitting in the league, and still get fantastic support, high expectations, big following, big club, and as you say, Higgs has been in there, dugout, and he'll know what it's like going into games when you're under pressure, and it must be really hard. It must be hard on people. They're human beings, these managers. It's all very well us talking in the media about it and doing our punditry, but when you're sitting there and you're reading things about yourself, and it must be very difficult, Paul. Mentally and physically as a manager to be dealing with doom and gloom press and fans on your back, and you've been at Hearts, and you know how big a club they are as well. It must be hard, Higgs.
Well, you've got to sort of try to hide it from the players to make sure that they don't have any bad vibes from you. You're spot on that one. But what I would say is, I don't know if you would agree with Bill and Hugh, but the manager that probably most of us thought was going to be sacked first would be Alessio, and it just shows you
couple of wins.
Last 3 games is 2 wins.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, could you imagine Paul Higginbottom or Craig Levine in the next 3 games winning 3 games. Now they get up to Hearts would be 11 points and Hibs would be 13 points. You know, that's the way. That's the nature of the beast. Football is. It can change like a drop of a hat. Now they're under scrutiny. They're under pressure. It takes pressure off of Tommy Wright, Jim Goodwin, Brian Rice, because you know Hearts shouldn't be in that position. Well, they are in that position, and the sooner they get out, the better for not just themselves but for Scottish football. But you know, it just shows you. You know, Alessio, go back to Alessio, everyone, and I thought he wouldn't last too long. Now look at him. The last 3 games. 2 wins on the draw, and I'm not saying everything's rosy in Rugby Park Garden, but it's better, and that's the way football changes so quickly.
Yeah, I know we've not got probably time to look at it, but the fixtures of both clubs would be interesting if we look at it if we had a wee bit more time, especially the Hearts ones, and maybe that's the reason that Anne Budge is prepared to extend, you know, our thoughts on making decisions, and it might be the same way Leanne Dempster as well. You know, I
think Higgs has made a very good point with the Alessio situation.
But I think, and again, in all respect to Higgs, I think the fixtures have possibly, you know, came the right way. What are you looking at?
Kelty 0, Auchinleck 2.
Kelty 0, Auchinleck 2.
Yeah.
That's a blow, isn't it?
It is. Guys, we're struggling for time, I'm afraid, so I'm going to have to kind of ask you for what your predictions are for...
I'm going to go for the Jambos to get a wee result and kick on and go Hearts 2, Hibs 0.
Higgs?
I'm going to repeat what I said, Bill. I think it'll be 1-1 and I think it'll be a stalemate, and I think defences have got to be on top on Sunday, because if not, whoever loses is under severe pressure.
Are they protecting each other at the minute, Higginbottom and Levine?
Yeah, they're kind of covered, both diving for cover, which you would never have thought in a million years would have happened after 5 games.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Cheers, Bill. Cheers, Hugh.
Cheers, big guy.
Back on Monday to see how many of them the boys have got right, and that's from 6, of course, until 8. Jerry McCabe back with us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your football, whatever you're on, whatever you're watching. Just the juniors coming up next, and I'm sure that they'll be talking about that Auchinleck score so far.
Love music, live sport. Talking Football with Bill Young, Hugh Burns and Paul Hegarty on Rock Sport Radio.